So essentially the cloud version, when you open up the program, this is where it comes to right here, is this page right here on personnel. On the left-hand side, you can see there are several. You will not see that Sportsoft portal right there. That's something that only employees of Sportsoft, okay, or team members get to see, okay? And you don't worry about it. That won't affect your the way the operation is on your program, okay? But these buttons on the side right here, the personnel, info, serialized, expendable, I'll go over which each of these does right here, but right now this is what we're on is the personnel page. So this is where you're going to keep track of basically all of your student athletes as well as your staff members and stuff, okay? So down at the bottom here, going across the bottom here, I have right above where the sport is, okay, I have sport, category, and organization. By the way, feel free to interrupt me if there's something I'm explaining and you don't understand, okay? So right now I'm going to go to the organization tab. And so what the organization tab does, for example, is it will encompass everybody that's in that particular organization, okay? And in this right here is where you can go in and assign people to different sports, okay? So for example, if you wanted somebody, I know Steve, you were planning on using this for the youth program, which I'm assuming is a feeder into the high school. But basically, if you have somebody there that's in that program, okay, they can also be moved over by sports, just by moved over to the cloud. Now, this person right here, as you can see right here, is not assigned to any sports, okay? So in order to do that right here, basically what I'll do is I will take that person and check a box next to them. And actually, let me go make sure I've got somebody here. Oh, this person's in roster test. Okay, so let's move him into football demo, just to kind of explain the flow here, okay? So what I can do is go up here and see, I'll see if the sport is football demo, the category, okay, in this particular case here, I have several categories. So I'm just going to put him into, let's say, offense, okay? And then if they're a staff member, you'll check this box here, are they staff? If they're active, that's what this box is for. So this is the way you can inactivate somebody that's in the program. Eligibility is based on, as you know, I don't need to explain that, but that box is checked. Also, too, I don't think you all deal with taxes, but that's this information here. Also, we have this note field that you can put in information here if you would like to, okay? And then I'm going to assign those person. And now you'll see this person, already in the sport. Okay, so this person was already in the sport, so that's why it's failing on that, okay? So that particular case right here, it should show the sport that,
Hey,
yes, there we go, as a matter of fact.
I don't think it failed us. It just gives you that warning.
You can see he's been assigned to 2 different sports, this roster test, okay, as well as a football demo. So it did do exactly what you said it was going to do there, Jessica, okay?
Again,
all
I
right.
win.
So, I'm sorry?
I said again, I win.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so this basically, when I'm in the organization, if you will, is the umbrella. For example, if you had multiple sports that you were using the program for, let's say, for example, Liberty High School would be your umbrella, basically, or the organization. So that's what the organization tab is for here. And in here, you have a couple of filters. You can look at everybody. You can look at only the active ones, okay? Or you can look at only the archived ones, okay? What we do is when somebody has moved out of there, you can basically move them into archive and keep them there if you want, okay? I can also mass edit multiple people at a time here by doing this right here. I can go in here and say, I want to make all these people active or archived, or I can put a global note on all those people right there. And to begin the mass edit, and that's where I can basically change all that, okay? The bar board, once you put somebody into the program right here, you can see this is the IDs right here. You can generate what we call a bar board in the industry. And essentially what the bar board does basically is you can put in here their first and last name, okay, ID if you'd like to, but put that in there. And if you download that, and by the way, this is a good time to point out that essentially all of your reports or bar boards and everything else goes into basically a PDF file right here. So you can see right here what's happened is anybody that's in here is taken their name, their first name, last name, but it's taken their ID and put that into a barcode. This is really helpful if you want to use this to check equipment out to somebody, okay? So that's what that information is about right there. So I'm going to close that. Oh, and I want to go back to the Equipment Manager program itself. Okay, right here. And also, too, you can delete people. I would say if you have a choice between archive and delete, you know what I mean? If you delete people, it'll also delete the history for that person as far as any equipment that you've given them. So I would probably use that, and use the archive more often. I'd probably use the delete, but you can also use the delete. It's purely up to you at this point, okay? So now that I've got people assigned in the organization, I can also establish different categories here. And you can see here under the sport of football demo, I have coaches, I got defense, I've got offense, I've got football, I've got different basically categories that I can put the individuals in. This helps to separate them, okay, if I want to filter what I see in the particular sport here. And you can see on the sport here, to team offense, defense, you know what I mean, other people. I can say I want to filter by categories here. And if I want to, I could just basically say, I just want to look at all the defensive players here, okay? And then once I've done that, that's all that will show up, okay, at that point there. Oh, I did not change that. Hang on a second here. I want to uncheck that one. And I want to put defense, okay? Now, come on. There we go. Oh, this currently doesn't have any people. Let's see here. Why don't I show? Let's see. How about, let's go. I think offense was the one I saw, right? So we'll go with that right there. And there you go. This is all the players that are on offense right here. So this is one way, if you will, within the sport of all the personnel of basically breaking it down so that you basically assign them to things. And by filtering like I just did here, you can only have them listed in here. So for example, if you want a separate barboard for the offense, separate barboard for the defense, you can certainly do that right here. And your coaches can also go in here. Although you see here, we have both players and we have also staff right here. And that's how different individuals, you'll put them in there. If you remember that checkbox I first showed you there just on the other page, if you check that box for staff, then that person will appear under staff at that point. So at this point here, what these are about, let's say I want to add somebody new right here, okay? And I'm going to add somebody, the first name. How about you, Andrew? Is that okay if I add you in here?
Yep, sure.
Okay. Andrew, what was your last name? I'm sorry.
Hall, H-A-L-L.
I'm sorry, say again?
Hall, H-A-L-L.
There you go. Like that, right?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Now, what I can do is assign you an ID if I want to in here, okay? Andrew, if you have a student ID or you have an ID card, you know what I mean, with something in there, it can be a driver's license number, whatever. We have a lot of customers that use the first initial last name to use as a unique ID, but it has to be unique. Nobody else can be using that one. Or you can go down here and auto-generate an ID, and it'll basically insert something for you like that, okay? Now I'm going to basically change this. So just in case, because like I said, the system is using unique IDs here. So what I'm going to do is use a Hall, okay, for your ID here. And now I'll go to create the person right here. And as soon as I do that, now it's coming down here and asking me basically what do I want to put them in. I'm going to put you right here. What the sport we're in right now is demo football, okay? And are you a coach, Andrew?
Yes.
Good. Then I'm gonna put you in coaches right here, okay? And then I'm gonna basically put you in staff, okay? Not to have you. I'm gonna have you active. I'm gonna have you eligible, and I'm not gonna worry about taxable. I'll say not taxable, okay? And then I'll hit next right here. This is the info right here. And I am going to save the info. And at that point right there, here's where I can start putting in your organizational sizes. For example, what size shirts, If you were a player, I could basically put your helmet in there, jersey size, other information in there also, okay? And then I'll save those sizes right here. There's the sport-specific sizes. So here is where basically I think, you know, Steve, this is where you keep track of the helmet manufacturer right here, you know, for example, okay? And then by the size of the helmets, okay, I can put large in here. Why is that putting that in there? Oh, that's right, jersey, okay. I was on jersey, sorry. And then basically you can put the shoulder pad manufacturer, shoulder pad size information here if you like, okay? And actually we don't want all of those, we just want large, okay? All right, and then I'm gonna save the sport sizes right here. Now when I hit finish, okay, if I wanted to add another person here, I can just hit reset and do it that way. If I want to do back, I can go back and edit the size. So at this point here, I'm gonna click, and you will see I have my filter on, sorry. Show all categories. Oh, staff, sorry. Okay, and Andrew, there you are, sir. So that's how I put people into the system. You could go ahead and put somebody into the system. Later on, you can go back and edit and put their size information in here. Also, too, up here, all of our search things you can basically put in here. For example, I put large in here, okay? It'll basically come back and it'll show me all the things that basically have an L on them, shoulder pad size right here. So on most of these pages, if you see this pop up right here, and you can see it filters by a single table column, okay? Or you can do the search settings itself, and it'll give you multiple choices on being able to do that, okay? So I'm going to go back in here at this point here. And by the way, I'm showing everybody that's on staff that's active and eligible at this point, okay? You can en masse edit people. Where it'll show the inventory where I want to check things out. And then also too, if I want to edit something on here, you can see here, this is where I can edit. If I spelled your name wrong or whatever, okay, then this is where I can do that. So that's pretty much how we add people to the sport. Up here, I can also adjust the display settings. So for example, I've got the sport, first name, last name, whether staff and ID, category numbers, but you can certainly put in here any other information if you'd like, you know what I mean, in here, and it'll basically store that column for you, okay? If I hit save right here, now I go back over here, you'll see that now I've added email to basically the display here, or what you're seeing on the grid here. Okay, are there any questions about that at this point? Nope, beautiful, but I'm going to continue on, okay? I'm going to go jump right into equipment. Steven, I believe you told me that right now you're only going to use the program for both helmets and shoulder pads, correct?
Yeah, I think that's all we're going to probably check out. I mean,
okay.
Game jerseys, obviously, any kind of game equipment, yes.
Yes, sir.
So,
okay.
Yes, those things too.
Okay. Okay, good. I'm going to concentrate on serialized equipment then at this point right here, Steve, okay? And then we can talk about expendables if you'd like, but I'll just kind of briefly touch on expendables and what the difference is between them, okay?
I don't, you know what, Les, I think for us it's going to be all the serialized stuff because we put all
Not
the
a problem.
labels. Yeah.
Thank you. You just made my presentation shorter. Thanks, Steve. Okay. So let me just touch on that, okay? And essentially, all of the serialized equipment, I'm going to go right into there, okay? All of the serialized equipment, all the serialized equipment has, and this is what separates it from expendable, non-expendables, is that all the serialized equipment has a unique ID assigned to it. Like you can see here, for example, okay? On this particular helmet right here, this is the one and only number like this in the whole world. And I believe at this point here, you're getting all the serial numbers, all the basically labels from us for both your cloth goods and your hard goods. That reminds me, and Steve, did you receive the labels I sent, by the way? Perfect. Okay. Beautiful then. And then once you affix that label to it, it's the only item in the entire world that has that. One of the beautiful parts about serialized equipment is on the serialized equipment itself. Okay, we keep a history on that complete item. Okay, and that information on that item. So any okay. So if you're ever going to go back and see exactly, and you can also, the inverse of that is if you go to the players, you can see exactly what they've had checked out to them too, as far as the history is concerned. Now, the way to add stuff into the history here, okay, is that, for example, I'm going to add a new item right here, okay. I don't believe I've used this serial number, but I'm going to add a Rydell, and I'm going to use a Speed Flex, okay. And Steve, what's your colors there? I'm sorry, silver, right? Silver, correct? Okay, got it. Okay, sorry, I have my camera turned off, Steve. Okay, I minimized, so my apologies. Okay, I thought so. So in here, these are the only ones I have. So here's where exactly I'm going to add silver. Okay, and for everybody who's not at Liberty High School, their team mascot is the Patriots. So anyway, here, now I'll add that here, okay? And I'm going to basically check this box here. And at this point here, I'll hit finish, okay? Now it's ready for me to start scanning in barcodes. Now, if all of the equipment that I'm going to scan is 2021, I'll just leave it at that, okay? And in here, at this point, I just happen to have a barcode scanner with me. So I'm going to try scanning a piece of equipment here. And by the way, if it's all the same, okay, you could just basically go through here and start scanning, bang, bang, bang. So for example, I got that one. I have another one here. So you can basically go through here and do them all just like that, okay, if you will. If there's a cost associated with it, you can put that in here. If there's any notes that you want to know about it, you can put that in here. And as you can see down here, it's telling you exactly where it's going to go, okay? So I'll add these two helmets right here to our inventory, okay? And we basically have assigned that, okay? And if I show the results, I go back out of here, then you can see those items. And by the way, I can find it this way here. This is a great place to use this right here. If I scan this right here, you can see this is the helmet. And I don't know why. I must have assigned this to somebody else. Let me try another one here. I'm sorry. There, beautiful. There we go, right there. There's the one that I added. There's your silver helmet, and we can change. This is a good time to note this. Or how do I do that? Okay, that other helmet was in blue, and obviously it looked like it was checked out to somebody. So if I go up here and scan this helmet, see here it is right here. Okay, and it shows the color blue right here, and for example, okay, is I'm going to edit. I can edit the manufacturer, model, and style right here, and we'll do that, okay? This is a Rydell, a Speed Flex, okay, and it's in silver. So I'll finish that. That part's been changed now right here. I'll update the status on it, okay? And I'll set it as available. It is available, okay? I'll update that. And then now I will basically close. Save left hand. Oh, sorry. So now you can see I basically changed that into a Rydell Speed Flex and silver right here. Now I can also look at the item history right here, and you'll see basically here the item was basically updated, you know, and excuse me, I originally added it on May 11th, okay, right here. But here you can see where I have changed the information right here, okay, on this particular helmet. So all of our transactions, by the way, Andrew, for your sake, and Steve knows this, but all of our transactions have a date and time stamp on them also. So if you ever want to go back and look to see, whether something is in there or not, okay, that's how you do that. Now, there's the helmets right here. I'm going to close this so I can see all of my helmets right here, okay? And that particular, there's the two helmets that I've added. This is one of the helmets I added right here, okay? So at this point right here now, okay, that I've added this, basically I can do the same thing that you saw me do with the other ones. I can basically remove or add information right here and save that. And so that's how I change what the columns are. And I can change actually the column order if you'd like, okay? So for example, if I want the year made on top right here, I can put that up here and then voila, you know what I mean? By the miracles of modern electronics, there you go. Now the year made's right there is in front, okay? So that's how you can basically change all that information on a helmet right there. You can mass edit helmet information. So for example, if I wanted to go through here and say, okay, look, all these helmets right here, I put the wrong color on them. I can go in here and do this, okay? And I can edit the mass. I don't want that. Wait a minute. What am I doing here? Oh, I'm sorry. That's the values. I want to add I want to edit this part right here. The values right here. So for example, I want to make all these ruts, speed flex, okay, silver right here, and then I can finish. And voila, all of those helmets now are Rydell, speed flex, and silver right here. If I wanted to change the sizes, if I organize these right here, I can basically print again a bar board. Now this is kind of a useless step in here, if you will, from the standpoint that if you need it, you got it, but all of your helmets are going to have a barcode label in them already. So that's what the bar board will do for you, okay? All right, and then you can also, again, if I wanted to, I can download this entire information here, sort it the way you want to, and it will download it to an Excel spreadsheet for you, which you'll see right here. There you go. And again, now you can see there's the information. Year made. This is all basically downloaded directly to this. So you can edit the information here if you'd like to. But so, for example, if you needed a report at the end of the season, okay, as to who still has stuff checked out to them, excuse me, then basically what I can do is go in here and I can filter this one right here. And I can basically say, I don't want to see what's available. I just want to see what's still checked out. And by doing that right here, you'll see I just reduced this whole list down and I can see the individuals that still have my helmets, okay, checked out to them at this point. Are there any questions on this so far? No? Okay. Excellent.
That report's also
Now,
good if you guys have to turn in anything for auditing purposes, because it will have the prices on there and whatnot. So if you guys have to turn it in just to your people, if they're asking like what was spent, where the money was allocated, obviously with nonprofits, they're always looking for that kind of stuff. So that's a good one.
Yep. Thank you, Jessica. That's a good point. I see we do have a couple of other people that have joined us. So it's a good thing. We've got this recorded. So like I told you, Steve, I can make this available to you, okay? The only thing I'm going to touch on expendable, the only difference between it and serialized is serialized, I told you, there's a unique number that's assigned to each piece of equipment, okay? Whether that be a helmet, shoulder pad, jersey, game pant, whatever. But in expendable right here, this is more like what your experience has been with barcode technology or AIDC, and that is that when you go to the store, for example, and you buy something, every item that's in the store that's exactly that same SKU number or substance kind unit is basically has the same barcode on it. That's the way we treat the expendable, non-expendables. But in this case here, I'm going to move on, but I just wanted to touch on that to explain the difference between that and serialized, okay? Now, we have this express tab. Let's say, for example, you're walking through the locker room and you find a helmet laying on the floor there. Who owns this helmet? This is another beautiful thing, if you will, about serialized equipment, is because all I have to do is scan that helmet right there, and it'll tell me, oh, Lise, that's just not checked out to anybody at this point right here. But if owns it, okay? At the end of the season, you can basically have everybody pile up, just basically put all of your helmets over here, and then go through and just start scanning them, okay? And this will check them in from the player. If you would like to, you have two options basically as far as reconditioning is concerned, okay? I can send it to reconditioning, and if I want the same player to get the same helmet back, I'll maintain the checkout status. That way when it comes back, I'll know exactly who it belongs to. Or I can send it to reconditioning and check it in if it's checked out to someone. If you don't do either of those and you just send it to recon and you want to, and the stuff comes back in the nice boxes and the plastic bags and everything, and from recon you can put that stuff here. And by the way, you can scan multiple items here at the same time when you're doing this, okay? And then some of this other stuff is pretty self-explanatory, and I don't believe any of these they do, but there are repair items that you can do here, okay? And you can basically go in here and make notes expressly, on what kind of repair and stuff that was done to it, okay, at that point there. So are there any questions on that? If you will, that's one of the things that I found valuable, because, and you guys are at the high school level or even the youth level, is that I would find equipment sitting around and trying to figure out who it belonged to. This took all the guesswork out of it. It was a lot more fun when they were getting dressed for practice the next day, you know what I mean, to come up and say, I don't see a helmet there, you know what I mean, for you. And everybody else is going to be wearing a helmet. Practice is going to be tough today for you, okay? So at that point, there was a lot more fun. And usually, it was interesting, and I just want to put this in here from an accountability standpoint, okay? The first time that I ever had to do that with a player, okay, and basically what happened was I had another player that came onto the field. He had grabbed another player's helmet and put that on because he didn't want to fess up the fact that he left his on the locker room floor the day before. And so he came on the field, and basically what I said was, they were sitting there warming up, and I stopped them and I said, everybody do me a favor. At the time, all the helmets just had 3-digit numbers on them. I said, look at the 3-digit number in your helmet, the barcode label there. And I said, somebody's got his helmet right here, the kid that was on the field with no helmet. And sure enough, a hand shot up from the back. I want you to know, we used to routinely pick up, and I'm sure you can associate with this too, Steve. We used to be able to pick up like 1 or 2 helmets or shoulder pads after every practice off the locker room floor. After that happened, and that gentleman paid for not only leaving his on the floor the night before, but also taking somebody else's helmet and trying to come on the field with it, okay? When they saw what happened to him, I had 0 amount of equipment left on the floor after that. Never had to do that again, okay? So that's the other beautiful part about serialized equipment. You know exactly who you gave it to. You know exactly. Some other things really really fast here. We have this reporting thing right here, and like I was saying before, all of our reports go directly to Excel, so you can print them out there, edit it in Excel if you'd like to. But in here, I have some things in here that basically are, if you will, kind of, are canned programs, okay, or reports if you need them. If there's a report that's in that you don't see here that you need, certainly let us know, for example, and we'll be happy to do that for you, okay? So at this point here, like I said, you can do that for the reporting. Importing, and Steve, this is, I think, one of the things that you saw. For example, we did this with your database. For example, if you have some administrative system that's able to produce, if you will, an XLS or a CSV sheet, okay, with the rosters in them and stuff, you can basically import those directly into the system, and I'll be happy to show any of you how to do that, but it'll save a lot of time. And if I don't know if you're a junior program, the other programs you bought this for, I don't know if they have an online system that they're using basically to register with, but usually those systems are relational databases, which means they produce unique IDs for the players. And again, you can do the same thing. and import those directly into the system here by just giving it the file name, and you can tell it what options you want to import at that point, okay? While I'm thinking about it too, over on the personnel page, there is a place here where I can basically, let me get rid of this for a second, out of the way. And in here, for example, you can basically, set up a link, okay, to something out there, you know what I mean? I don't know if this is applicable to you, but you can certainly do it if you want to. You can set up a link and basically have your players go there, for example, and put in whatever information you need as far as size information or what kind of helmets or stuff they use, okay? And our system right here. Then last but not least, I'm going to touch on settings here real quick, okay? This is how you'll add sports. And I believe in yours right now, Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, but basically shows football, and then it shows, I think, the test one that I created, right? So this is the page. Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I think that's all we had set up. Yeah, I haven't looked
Yeah.
at, I haven't opened anything since you imported everything.
Okay. So when you get a chance, if you can, take a look at that and make sure that the information is accurate in there, Steve, okay? And if not, let me know, okay? We'll be happy to take a look at it and repair anything or fix anything that's not correct, okay? But for that one
But you
that's
guys are
on,
just
that's
doing-
in your, sorry?
You guys are just doing single sport, right? Just football right now to start?
Well,
Yeah,
he's got
I'll-
two sports, actually. Yeah.
We're going to have our, in terms of, you know, what, I mean, obviously there's a lot of features here. A lot of them, the nice thing is a lot of it is familiar. The Express, obviously.
Yes.
We use that quite a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, so when we get around to it, I'm showing us how we're going to open our new system. Because I have what I have on my laptop, our old
Yes,
folder with all the Sportsoft stuff.
Right.
But yeah, so I'd imagine you're going to tell us how to access the cloud version now. Yeah.
Oh, exactly. And I apologize. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to get to, because now, Steve, at this point here in your system, we need to add users, okay? So, because I believe right now you're the only person that's in there as a user, okay? All right. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to go to. But I was going to say in here, for example, if you misspelled a sport or something like that in here, Steve, or that test one, okay, that's the one you'll basically be able to rename to the junior, okay? For example, for the sport, okay? To keep them separate. So that's what that's about. And I just wanted to show you that here. Now, basically the users, this is where you're going to basically go in and add new users right here, okay? What I would, and what you want to do is you'll see here that all the users in our system use basically an email address. And I strongly suggest that's what you want to do. The reason for that is because if you, for some reason, forget your password or something, if you're using your email address, the program, the authentication, works exactly like all the other authentications that you run into in cloud services. There's basically a block on the thing once you put your username in there, and you can basically put in there and say, forgot password. So if you're using your email, it will go ahead and forward an email to you and take you through what you need to do in order to basically reset your password. For the time being, Steve, what you can do for them, or Andrew, whoever it is, you can basically go in here and add the new user right here, in here, and you put their email address in here, okay? And at that point there, basically put in, and you can put something generic in there if you want, Steve, you know what I mean? Like just the word password with zeros for O's, you know what I mean? Or 3s for S's, whatever, you know what I mean, you want to do. And then basically put them in there like that. And then the first time they go out there, they're going to basically say, oh, okay, I've already done, you know what I mean, that part there. But when they go to the authentication screen, it's going to pop up. When they type in their email address, they're going to see that button that says, I forgot password. And that way they can go in there and change them, okay? Or if they want to, you can basically enter the passwords right here for them, okay? Enable the users, and there you go. That's how you're going to get all your users. Now, within the users themselves, I think we touched on this already, Steve. I just wanted to touch on this for Andrew's purposes, okay? We also have user group permissions, okay? So as you see right now, right here, you know what I mean? For example, I have certain ones. So I have certain edit users or permission groups, I mean, okay? For example, I have admins, which is what Steve belongs to. And anybody, when you do that, for example, if I do this, okay, and I hit continue, you'll see these are all the things or all the actions that an admin group person can actually do in the program. So if you want to assign, for example, you know, you've got some help, some volunteer help or something like that for the users group, and Steve, you can give the direction as to how you want to do that. You can basically create a group right here. And you can say basically, let's say the student, okay? If I have a student that wants to help out, okay, I can do that. And you can see all they can do is create or assign people in categories and check equipment in and check equipment out or update the status of items. And that's all they can do within the system. All the rest of the stuff, especially the ones that have the word delete in front of them, okay? You'll uncheck that for those and you feel the people are unsafe to do, okay? And that's what that's all about. But you'll create your own groups right here. And then that's how you can basically edit it and basically tell people what you want them to see at that point right there, okay? Does that make sense then, or any questions on that? No? Okay, then a couple of things. There's a settings tab here, and this is essentially all the stuff right here. If you're going to print labels, that information is also in here, okay, as far as the way you're going to do that, or your scanners and stuff. Now, one of the beautiful parts about this too, Andrew, and Steve understands this, we talked about this already, is if you have an iPhone or an iPad or something, you can also use that in order to scan stuff in or out, okay, with it, okay? And everywhere you see, for example, I'll go back to personnel page here for a second. Everywhere you see where it has this little, see this little camera in the bottom right-hand corner right here? Well, if you click on that camera right there, that's what enables the camera on your device, your smartphone or your tablet, okay, that basically allows you to go ahead and scan something with it, okay, at that point, all right? And then one thing I almost forgot, I apologize, I wasn't following the script that closely, okay, but I also have this info right here. And this info right here is where basically you can add items, okay, in here, and you can essentially, for example, helmet manufacturer, and then you can fill in here what you want to know about those particular items at this point, okay? So if I want to add new size to anything, I can do that right here by clicking on this. And I want to say, for example, let's say, for example, I want to have a size name here. Right here, I can edit the size information right here. Oh, sorry. Here's size options here. For example, I want to put a large, and let's say a medium in here. Excuse me, a medium in here. Okay, I'll hit add right here, and you'll see that pop up right here. Okay, then there you go. My widgets come in only two sizes, large and medium, and that's it. But that's where you can adjust this information in here. Also, too, this is where you basically, I was telling you about the form that you can have, like a website that you can have them go and fill in information if you wanted to do that. This right here is where you can tell it what size information or what information you want them to fill in. Back there, okay? Or you can mass edit sizes right here too by just checking a box here, for example, and then going here and changing it, and you'll get the size options here, okay? So at this point here, does anybody have any questions? No, it's all straightforward. I believe I covered everything, Steve, that you guys will need to know, okay, as far as your system is concerned, okay?